Good morning. Almost forgot how to do this, and I only had one day off. But I had a nice rest day. I hope you all took a rest day also. I didn't spin, right? I didn't spin at all yesterday. And today I am plying. I have 7 bobbins. They're sitting behind me, right back there. All right. And yeah, those are either going to get the 2 and 2 self-plied, or these 3 back here are this with this. You also see that moving around on the bed there? My cat has been sleeping there, and so I didn't kick him out before stream. So we may have a little bit of Newman time. We'll see. I probably, because I have white pants on, it's almost a given he'll sit on my lap. In fact, I think I'm going to put my towel on my lap right now. Because here he comes. You coming up here? No, you're just going to crawl around my feet. Well, anyway, I do have a towel on it now. Won't be quite as bad. So how's everybody? Are we getting, good morning, Kay. Are we getting a good start to the week? Hopefully this is the last week. And got to get your spinning done. I think most people are pretty much hitting their goals by now. You know, we don't overestimate on the goals too much. I think I didn't set any goals. I just, like, I have to spin, and I wanted to stream every day. So I did that. I did do that. Or I will by the end of this week. I have to... I'm going to ply on my Aura. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to ply on my Aura because it has a nice big bobbins. And let's get that set up. How are you doing today, Kay? I have nothing to talk about. Spent a lot of yesterday looking at Google Maps and planning out something that we're going to have to do on our trip to Florida, and that is for my brother. My brother lives in Ohio, and there are things in Florida he wants, right? And we're going to Florida, and he knew that. So we've been on the phone with him what he wants and what we can bring in the car. And then I got to go up to Ohio and meet up with him, and we're going to meet up halfway. And yeah, anyway, lots of time. Nice conversation with her brother. It's always nice. Alright. I have to to figure out, I'm going to do this one at a time anyway. Don't make a noise, cat. He's sitting down here by my Lazy Kate. So this is what I'm playing the first. And you know what? I have forgotten the names of this. I have it written down, of course. I'm probably going to have to look it up as I make the labels. So, but anyway, this is a silver, and this is a multicolor, and these are going together. I did split this into two bobbins because at the time I didn't know I was going to use it for that. But that's what we're playing it. Oops. Where's my camera? Oh, it's over here by my spinning wheel. Alright. This is what we're playing together then. So maybe I'll take a look at my notes here and see if I can remember what this is before I get going. Because I know I'm going to have to do that anyway. Where's my notes? Here they are. Romney. These are already plied. The early July stuff is already plied. Alright, so that's the Romney. This should be the last of what's already done. Now, Luna Bud, Marina Bamboo. Oh no, that's plied. That's plied too. Okay. Alright, this is Plum Dandy. No, this is red wine and chocolate. Okay. And that's Pink 2 Soft Silk, so I know what those two are. I should have kept my stuff out. Alright. This isn't good. I'm going to have to write the... Alright, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get my thing of labels. Spinning on the porch sounds good, Kay. That sounds nice. Okay, doesn't do a lick of good to make my collection of the different fibers in little bags like that with their labels and everything, unless I use them. So let's find. Okay, that's the Romney. Yep, that's pin drafted. And that's the purple Harbor Fort. Okay, where is it? Would be the last. No. Oh, you know what? I betcha. Yeah, I already had it out on the bed. Oh man, I am so not with it this morning. Yeah, I'm just not with it this morning. Okay. And over here. Alright, here's the Hot Pink Silk. This is what I'm plying right here. What is this? This is the... I still don't have what's on the floor here. Is this it? This might be it. This is it. Okay. Has to be that. Oh, I don't think I have spun the blue yet. I haven't spun that yet. That's what's going on. Yeah, I should have done this pre-stream. Sorry about that. Alright. It's really nice with the shade and everything. Yeah, I believe it. these two are what I'm flying. I bought this recently, right? This Lazy Kate. My wheel is really in the way. I don't like it because if you put it on the floor, you end up pulling up like this, and I don't like it. So it has grippy feet, which is nice. So I can put it on the table beside me, which you can't. It's right here. Right. Now, my other one is from Magic Craft Aura, and it's like this, and pulling straight up is perfect with that. So that is one of my problems with this new one that I bought. I will tell you, I went to the Fiber Fair and specifically looked for Lazy Kate, because the one I've had from when I did my bought my Ashford wheel back in the late 1970s, I mean, it's just literally hardly holding together anymore. So I don't like using it. Well, turns out there wasn't a whole lot of choices. I mean, basically what I bought was the only choice, and I noticed watching a stream that I saw somebody else had the same thing, right? Looking reasonably new. Like, they're really not being made much. I'm pretty sure I probably could have mail ordered another Aura one, and if I had thought it through, I probably would have realized that's probably the best thing I could have done. But you know me, I need this. I'm gonna buy it right now. Let's get some good pull in here. So we're gonna have a muted barber pole on this. It's alright. If I'm going to have a barber pole, I think I prefer that. I really intended to do this yesterday, and I just didn't do anything spinning related yesterday. It wasn't until about 8 o'clock at night that I even sat down and watched one of the recorded Tour de France's. So streaming is good for me. It really does get me to sit behind the wheel. I don't actually do that very much when I'm not streaming. I I will say I have a lot of bobbins filled with yarn. 7 total. 2 and this and 1 are going to get plied onto this one bobbin. Oh, there we go. Yeah, this bobbin that's sitting over here on the table is from my Ashford. I only have 2 bobbins for the Ashford. I never ply on. I would have on it because I don't have 3 bobbins for to use with the Woolly Winder flyer. I don't want to change flyers. So shiny. I will say I've had some shiny fibers last week or so. Got that hot pink silk to apply also. When I was just now sorting through the little fiber samples, I'm like, well, where's that yarn? Where's that yarn? I just spun that. I realize now I put it in my separate place for fair skeins. I will have to get to those next week as far as washing and reskeining and all of that. But I have them kind of all in one spot. Good morning, Guitar Nut. How are you? Keeping cool? Boy, we are in the height of summer, are we? Really, it's bad out west. I was watching the news. Texas is going to be cooked by the time you get there. It is so hot and muggy, I know. Oh, I don't know. Oops. Guess you better go check your account, Guitar Nut. I have been, I used the day off to upload streams to YouTube. It's where I archive them, and it takes a long time, so I start one and then do other stuff and then come back when I think about it, which is usually about 2 hours later, which is way more than I could get more done if I paid attention, but I don't. I just, it's a second thought kind of thing during my day. But I am not too far behind. The only thing is, by streaming every day during these 21 days, I'm adding a lot of streams. And I archive all of them. Some I mark private. Various reasons. A lot of times it's because the stream gets broken up in segments, and I don't think people who watch things on YouTube want to go looking for the second part. Sometimes it's just not much of a teaching stream, right? But I also did a highlight of the one I did recently on washing locks. So I got that highlight, and that'll stay on Twitch forever. Highlights stay there. The regular non-highlighted stuff doesn't, but that's a big old clump of unspun fiber. I may not have... I did this by weight, but I'm wondering if I'm going to have enough of this to apply all of it. It's rigged! Nobody can catch the Pokemon. Oh my gosh, come on. It doesn't want to come off the... It's not pulling off the thing very well. this is the end of this one. Looks like the leader. Sometimes it's hard to tell the leader from the fiber. Oh, I just realized these, okay, these with the woolly winder have kind of, okay, they have two different ends. I mean, as far, little things on the ends. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because of the woolly winder, it has this gear part, right? And then it also has just a standard thing that is the attachment for the shaft. And I don't know whether the Lazy Kate would appreciate this or that end. I'm going to start with this end and see if I have trouble pulling it off. Maybe that's hard on the gear though. I may end up switching it because it's not a good thing for the gear, which is what makes it part of the woolly winder. Yeah, it doesn't want to. Let's see if that makes a difference. Much better. It likes that. Okay, it likes the non-woolly winder end on the wood. Can you play the play the lottery? Did you see the one hit $1 billion? $1 billion. Let me just say that about 14 times. $1 billion. Can you imagine the taxes? They ought to be able to pay off all the government's debt. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine. Oh, I can imagine, but it's not going to do me a stick of good. I'd be the only billionaire streaming. Great. You'd certainly spend that money. Yeah, right. You've never actually played. Yeah, unfortunately, you gotta play, or you don't get it. But it's just so, you just can't not think about it. You know, it's like, oh my goodness, what would I do? Wouldn't change me a bit. Yeah, right. I would travel. Absolutely. That's exactly what I would do. Between my 14 different homes. Oh, yeah, $1,000 million. I could make my spinner's library. You are right about that. Guitar Nut, you're so good. You listen to me. I appreciate that. Probably I was talking about that the last time the lottery went way high. Okay, I am going to have to find a second fiber to ply with this because somehow I have twice the fiber than I expected on this multicolored one. This just did not even begin to ply half of it, or close, maybe it did ply close to half of it. So, wondered if no, I don't think I would have applied it. I wasn't going to apply it with the purple. I might though. You know, that might be what I'm thinking. That part of the maroon that I spun goes with this. Maybe I was going to self-ply the bamboo. I may have screwed up my fair entries. Oh well. I think that's what I did. I really do. I think that's what I did. Too late now. Hi, Holly. Welcome. I am not happy with the bamboo at all, or whatever this is. Is this bamboo or silk? It's bamboo, I think. Yeah, 100% bamboo. Oh well. should have brought something cold in to drink. I made a packet of raspberry lemonade. It's really good. It was just a Crystal Light packet. Okay, where's my... Huh. Yeah. Oh, goodness. Don't do this at home, folks. I'm a trained professional. Oh well. Pretty yarn. Very different. Real barber pole and shiny. Okay, now I have a problem. I have a big problem. Alright, I gotta take that off the bobbin. I don't have any empty bobbin for this. I have to go ahead and skein it off. See, here's the one skein that I did put together like I should have. And that's what I was going to do with that. And I forgot. And put it with a wool. So they'll go together. They'll absolutely go together for projects. Let's see here. I need to make some labels. This is bamboo and blue face luster. What did I say? 92 yards. Okay. Now, how do we fix the rest of this? Excuse me. Okay. So this is going to get applied with half of each of these. This is called Plum Dandy. The other one is called Red Wine and Chocolate. Seems suited for each other, doesn't it? All I know is I'm glad I'm not doing any more bamboo. This is wool. Give me wool. Anytime. Give me wool. I'll tell you. Just finished a bob and a chain ply. Yay! Oh, 3 more to go. Good. I have started a series of books by an author that I've never read before, Ann Cleeves, and I think it's Cleaves. It's called the Shetland series, which of course is why I picked it up, and it is set in the British Isles, or in the Shetland Islands. Murder mysteries. I think there's 7 of them in the series. I originally had the books actually put in my Amazon wish list as actual books in a set, but I found them, all of them, from my library. So I am as audiobooks, so I'm listening to them one by one. I have the first one on there right now. Seems like it's going to be good. Called Black Raven, The Black Raven. The book, that's what the book is called. I can't tell if I've trained my brain to have bouts of insomnia so that it can listen to a book, or if, as I do think of it, I'm listening to the book to pass through my bouts of insomnia. But there are some nights where I get more quote-unquote listening done than I do sleeping. You always have. I blame mine. Hey, you got a wishy-washy. Oh, I missed that one. Yeah, I blame mine on. I don't drink coffee after like 2 o'clock, but in the afternoon. But I still blame it on how much caffeine I have in my system. I'm real addicted to caffeine. Hello, kitty. He's just wandering around. we're going tomorrow. I am going to stream in the morning tomorrow. I'll stream early, 10 to noon, and then we're going to see the Indiana Jones movie that's out now. I always enjoy going to see a movie. And then I guess in a week or so we'll go see the Mission Impossible one. So I haven't really gone through the fiber that I've gotten out for the Terra Fleece to figure out my next group of spinning. I probably need to double check the fair skeins and figure out if I have to do something else for fair. I think I need a break here. Stretch my fingers a little bit. We're at the 1 hour point. Plying is just as hard on fingers as spinning because I'm keeping the tension on the... I don't tension my bobbins. I'm keeping the tension on the strand as it single as it comes up. I just realized my eye doctor hasn't called me back. Somebody's supposed to call me for scheduling. Am I here today? This is the one that this song makes me think of the Mario game. It's kind of hard. I have two bobbins of this. Oh, where'd that come from? And I want to kind of use it up evenly off each bobbin so that when I tie it together, I don't have to make a plumb. I don't have to empty one single bobbin with two ends to ply. So I'm just sitting here watching, trying to decide when to switch to the other bobbin. I can't even weigh them because they're two different kinds of bobbin. One is the 3D printed plastic and the other is the solid wood. I'm not making my spinning easy today. It's kind of the opposite of yarn chicken, isn't it? Not real sure what I call it. I've just sat here and thought about guitar nut doing chain plying, and of course you usually work with one single and loop it through, and I'm like, I wonder what would happen if you chain plied that way with the two singles coming up. I know it would work. I've never tried it though. I mean, yeah, you'd have a 3-ply. No, you'd have a 6-ply, wouldn't you? What would you have? If you pull this through, I think it's a 5-ply. Chain ply with two different singles together? Yeah, it'd be a 6-ply. Okay. I'm gonna try that sometime. But, yeah, it looks more like a 5-ply to me, because if you have your loop, you got 4 on either side, and you pull one through. Oh, I know what it is. I'm only pulling one single through. So, yeah, if I have my loop and I pull both through, yeah, it's a 6-ply. Yeah, that's what was throwing me off, is I am so used to just grabbing a single, right, and pulling it through the other. You have to grab both. That would be a fun yarn to make, actually. I'm sure it's been done. Yeah. You get crazy and alternate the singles if you do. Well, that's another thing. But that would be a 5-ply then. That's a good point, though. You could, I think. Except, yeah, you could, because it just pulls it off. I mean, your bobbins may not empty at the same rate, but... I don't have a novel art yarn made for. I wonder what they would do if I put something like that in there. I wonder how it will react when you put it in water. If you get a boucle effect, or if it would ease out and be balanced. Yarn science! Yarn math. Yeah, well, that's where, at least 10% of my podcast came from. What if? Starts with the what if. It'd be really cool if I could make it with a black and white yarn so that it would be real obvious. I think I might try it with a black and white first, just for the heck of it, just to see if that looks as cool as I think it might. that could just grow and grow and grow. You could have 4 singles. You've been seeing lots of people posting coarse spun, yeah, and other weird techniques I've never heard of in the art yarn world. I have the standard book for those that show all of those. And the hardest one I have, like maybe used once as a yarn, is tail spun, so that you have locks sticking all out, and I used it to knit a brim of a hat, so that it was all fluffy, lamey looking kind of thing. So it has its uses. Some people make slippers, the top part of slippers out of them, that kind of yarn. But the other technique I always wanted to try, and I've never done, I can't remember what the name is. It's not an art yarn. It's when you knit a mitten, you take locks and knit the end of the mitten into it on the inside, and that is made to naturally felt as you wear them, and of course it's for warmth, right? I forget what that's called. There's a name for that, but I bet you could sneak in some in your ribbing in a sweater or something. Yeah, or yokes, that would be maybe all right too, like hold it together every few stitches or something. Yeah. You just have to be a little bold about where, and not think of traditional clothing, but it definitely belongs on the runway, right? Have to start looking for the fall issue of Vogue. It's usually huge. Last couple of years I've looked at it, and I've seen it, and it was like, you didn't make it any different than it usually is. Usually that's when all the houses are releasing their big lines of clothes. Well, I'm almost out of red wine chocolate here. Don't know what I'm gonna do. No, that's worked out good. I'll self-ply the maroon ones together for the other end. I will have a matching yarn. Another matching yarn. That's like I said, lately that's been seems to have been my thing. I made one this morning without planning on it. With that bamboo. I really needed a bamboo for the fair, and it was going to be 100%, but I don't think I would have liked the skein. I have one. I don't know. If it weighs 2 ounces, I might submit it. I have a 100% bamboo, but I don't know if it's going to weigh 2 ounces. I could find out real quick here. I mean, it's right here. Oh, my scale's right here. Bamboo is surprisingly heavy, right? For the come on, stay on. I don't think it is though. Oh my gosh, it's 2.09. It actually would qualify. I'll think about it. I'm running out of time. I have time. I wasn't gonna spin anything down when we're in Florida because of really not being set up to get it ready for the fair. That's kind of close and iffy, because if they would get a wild hare and pull out their own scale and weigh it, it could weigh different, with just the lack of humidity that I have. I have humidity here, and they wouldn't in the air conditioning, right? So it's a little touchy. It could get disqualified for that not being enough. I have another 4 ounces of bamboo, 100% bamboo. That's actually not a bad color either. It's a pretty blue. So I may have to spin some of that. That's why I said I need to take a look at all the yarn that I've set aside for the fair and think about if I have it for the categories. It's up near the top of the bomb and it gets caught. Oh, I'm so close. I'm almost done here. Almost done. So can I talk about the judging process works? Do they open your skein up and go all over it? Yes. They do. Our fair, I've never met her. Okay, it's a lady. I know her qualifications because I know the people in the textile department that run the textile department. I have worked for the textile department. I have worked in the booth where, during the fair, after the judging's over and everything, during the fair, we have a textile booth and tons of people come up. And one of the reasons, so we're basically answering questions. And one of the reasons tons of people come up is it's probably one of the bigger state fairs for quilts. And there's just a huge number of entries for quilts. And these people come in, they're here at the state fair, and Aunt Mildred's quilt is entered in the fair. That's all they've been told, and so they can come to our booth and give us Mildred's full name, and we have a entry list, right, that shows what number it is. Now, after that, I can see what category the quilt's in, because there's like 20 different categories in quilting alone, and I can say approximately, but they're on their own going up and down in that area looking for their aunt's name on the quilt, right? So, yeah. And sometimes I think these people the family has sent them and say, let's see if I want a ribbon or anything, because they can't get to the fair. Anyway, I love working in the textile department, and so, I have to avoid the textile, the department and everything, except for taking my entries in until, right, I don't work with putting things out or anything like that. While the judging's going on, I'm not there, because I do have things in that are being judged. So I've never met the spinning judge, but I've talked to the director. I've worked with her for 10 years, and I worked with the lady before her for a couple of years. I've done this a long time, and I've talked to her about the spinning judge. I know that she has that spinning certificate, the 3-year program. I know she has that. I know she writes comments on everyone, and they're blunt, and she can't stand any imperfection in the skein. she'll find an imperfection. She will find an imperfection. And, my attitude about hand spinning is always, this is what makes it unique. This is not being spit out by a machine, right? So she's not forgiving at all. And to get a first place from her is just, I basically have thirds most of the time. So, I, as many years as I've been spinning, the truth is, I spin a certain way, and it's not really as exact as she probably wants to see. And it's okay with me, right? I'm okay with it. And she's not. So, I don't put a lot of, I just don't make the judging and the ribbons and all that a big thing. I keep them, but I put my yarn in year after year after year because it is a tiny community, a tiny number of skeins for the whole state, right? This is a state fair, there should be as many spinners in the state as there are quilters. Well, no, there's not. And not only are there not that many spinners, there's not that many that are willing to. I have a good friend that's a spinner. She refuses to put her yarn in for judging, right? She can't handle somebody saying things about her yarn. Right? It takes a certain water off the back of a duck kind of attitude to do it. So it's, when I get a ribbon, the way the judge judges, there could be 2 people in the category, and she can give first, second, and third. And if she doesn't like the skein of yarn, she will give a second and third, or she'll give a first and a third, right? She is a true judge. She doesn't say, oh, you got 3 people, this one's the best, this one's second best, this is third best, right? I was at quilt judgings a number of times. I saw the quilt judge. I heard her say that, right? In this category, this is the best, this is the second best, and this is the third. But she has so many entries to pick from, she can do that. The spinning judge doesn't necessarily always have 3 entries. So, anyway, I'm not trying to make this sound like sour grapes. I'm being real realistic about this. You can't be sensitive. And you might get a judge at your state fair that is like the person who, I also will occasionally put things in the knitting category. Okay, and this isn't just hand spun, this is commercial yarn. We have our own category for something knit out of hand spun in spinning, and I always try to put something in there. And I don't have anything this year. That's what I want to work on in Florida. But there's just a big knitting category. And it's amazing all the things that are in it, all that can be knitted. And sweaters and afghans are the 2 big ones. And a few people will enter the baby clothes, and a few people enter socks, and I've entered socks a number of times. So those judges are little old ladies that knit that just absolutely love what you do. Oh, this is a beautiful pattern. I like your choice of yarn. You got a 3rd place. So anyway, their comments are always positive. And the spinning judge is, I see places that it's over twisted. I get that all the time. The plying is loose. I get that a lot. So it's yeah. That is tiny. Are you talking about the number of entries. Yeah, it is. We will have no more we will not have over 20 skeins of yarn entered for the entire state. And that's just, it's sad. And I just figured the fair people are going to finally say, well, that's just not bringing in the revenue, that's not worth the money. But there's so many other categories that are huge and well supported, so they, cross stitch alone will be 100 entries. People who have done a cross stitch, and they think they're, this is such a big deal. It takes forever. I used a chart. I don't have it stamped, right? I'm counting the cross stitch. I'm really neat. I've got now my back all neat. It's framed. And you get there and you're competing against 90 other people who just did the same thing, right? This is all part of the textile department. When I say I work for the textile department, I mean, it's all of the textile entries, not just the yarn spinning and all that. You wonder how much, you don't know yet. You would think that Tennessee would have more than that. Hi, Jane Lane. Welcome. Yeah, this is going to be interesting for you to get into this experience. And as a novice, like I said, novices only have one year, and then after that, you can't enter the novice category. But I don't know what the fair says about that. Your fair says about that. Guess what? I'm tired of plying. Oh. And I got one empty bobbin, so I don't have to take this off. Me too. You are knitting. Yeah. Jane, I didn't even see your question when I said that. I have been plying the entire stream. I have 2 more yarns to ply yet. And it's nice to have somebody to talk to while I'm doing it. Plying puts you to sleep, I guess, because I don't have to worry about consistency. Yeah, I know. Usually, I mean, I do watch television or whatever, a lot of times when I'm plying. But, But I'm happy with the fact that I'm getting a lot of yarn made. Makes me feel good. Also hungry. I had breakfast, but hungry. I'm gonna crunch a chocolate covered coffee bean here. Alright, let me see. And this is what I'm plying right now. Okay. Good. Man, those are good. Coffee bean, chocolate covered coffee beans. I get them at Trader Joe's. I may have to go back to Trader Joe's again. We go in town tomorrow. We're not going to be too far from it. You have so much new yarn, yeah. Unless it's a fractal spin. Those are fun to watch a lot. Yeah, they are. I agree. I didn't do any fractal yarn this time around. I have probably have some that would make a really good one the way it's dyed. I gotta make myself a note here on that yarn we were talking about. So I want a black bobbin and a white bobbin, and when I ply it, do chain ply instead of using a single, and then maybe try 4 bobbins. Looks like I don't know. Probably get this done, but it doesn't look like I will be doing the silk on stream. Unless I save it and do it tomorrow morning. I might. This is Romney, Teeswater, and Blueface Leicester, which sadly the Romney and the Teeswater just undid all of the softness of the Blueface Leicester. But then that's a genetic combination. Yeah. You know, the sheep had that, like, maybe the buck was Romney and the doe was Teeswater or Blueface Leicester, or vice, any of them that way. Once you mix the genetics like that, it doesn't really matter. It's crisp, moderate softness, feels like wool, unlike Blueface Leicester and Merino, which feels like soft wool, right? This feels like regular wool. Very similar to Romney. Great big huge. Oh, is this? Oh my gosh! It just popped all over the place there. I wonder if I can. Never had it pop over so much the entire bobbin like that before. I just backed up. And I'll move my thing sooner. Oh, goodness. I think my music has ended. No, it's just real quiet, but it's almost done. Your county fair is next month, and you just brought home from the farmers the cross-stitch piece I will enter. Oh, from the framers. Let's get that R and A in the right order there. Our county may be the largest in New Mexico, but we are very small as far as people, and the fair judging is a bit laid back. They do judge by the quality, but may award 2 first-place winners. Oh, that's nice. The ribbons everybody hopes for is the grand champion or the reserve champion. Yeah. Jane Wayne says, I have Corridel on your spindle and started a baby alpaca on your e-spinner. The alpaca is like spinning clouds, but it is messy. Oh, beautiful. It sounds so nice. Alpaca, are you carding it? Are you just holding it and in a bundle and spinning it? But Holly, I get what you're saying, because it. And first of all, yours is a county fair. I'm talking state fair. I'm talking my entire state. But your state, would be as less populated as mine, probably. I mean, as far as population goes, that's also possible. I have never entered in our county fair. I believe it would be very, very similar, but I always miss it. It is like the week school is getting out, right? And I'm not geared up yet to think about entering stuff in a fair at that point, right? So it seems like I always miss the entries. You're just spinning it from a braid, but I think I will play with Marina. That would be beautiful. Well, that's good. It's already processed for you then. I like Corridel a lot. And alpaca is always nice. I just don't spin very much of it. It's very easy on the spindle. You like it too, yeah. It's strong enough when the spindle gets heavy. That's a very good point. Very true. This, I like. Just give me wool anytime. Holly says, I don't think I would ever enter a state fair. I don't think I'm that good. Plus, it's held in Albuquerque, which is quite a drive from here. I used to enter some out in the Southwest New Mexico State Fair. It became too hard to get your stuff down there, and they changed how pieces are judged. It's just not the same experience. Our fair allows you to mail things in. Now, whether you trust that, whole process is a different thing. But the fair office will accept mailed-in entries, and they return it. I think you probably have to pay for the postage, but they do return it. I'm close enough that it doesn't matter, but there are a lot of people who they live all over the state, so it would be a couple hour trek to come from either the far east or west part of the state, not so much north and south. It's about an hour and a half to the border with Tennessee. Maybe a little closer to. But we are narrow, wide state. Well, I love this color when I bought it, the Faber, and I love this color as a yarn. My favorite skein so far. Okay, I'm going to do a poke catch. I never get anything though. Two high knots. It's going good. The state fairs have two different cross stitch categories based on size, and you wish your county fair would allow for that. The State Fair of Texas is too big. I never go. Well, come on. It's Texas. It has to be big. That's okay. If we're blue skying about winning $1 billion, and I said I would travel, I would try and catch the state fairs in the different states. That would be my, what do they call it, bucket list, right? And you can have your state parks and all that, right? Let me go to the state fair and eat all the interesting foods in the Yeah, it runs for 3 or 4 weeks. Do most state fairs go we have 10 days. It's also in September and it's still pretty hot. Ooh, yeah. Ours is 10 days. Like the 14th through the 24th of August. And it's always really hot, too. So. You went to the Texas State Fair the first year you moved to Dallas, but I was right there, so it was convenient. Oh, it's in Dallas? Yeah. You think taking the train's the best way to go? That would be, yes, I agree. Except once you get off the train, you have to use public transportation to get wherever you're going. But as far as seeing scenery and all that, of course, I don't mind driving. I like driving. I don't have to have speed. If I'm driving, I don't want to get there in a hurry. I want to see things along the way. I prefer to go someplace that way than, well, let's get there in a day and have it, have time to be there. Well, let's get there in 3 days and have time to be there. I have the door open, partially open because Newman's been going in and out, and hubby just walked by and he's like looking at me like, what are you saying? You don't remember seeing any of the exhibits? Huh. Jane says, I've been a few times, kind of always the same, just more expensive every year. Yeah. Were you going as a kid, Holly? I know. A lot of times. I mean, when I was a young, Mom and Dad, we traveled a lot in the summer. I mean, it was always just a 2-week trip somewhere, but we'd go different places and do different things. And I have some memory of it, but my biggest memory is just sitting in the back seat of the car, passing time till we got someplace. I will say that's when I learned to eat fast food, because I was always like, can we stop at McDonald's? I mean, I get that from my grandson now. So, I'm getting payback for it. Yeah, there's like one building of exhibits. It's just such a big venue. Well, unfortunately, that's not good. And we do have that. I will say it's not real bad as far as, sales pitches and everything. There's a lot of home remodeling, swimming pools, outdoor remodeling, but there is also what they call the exhibits of the counties. So every county in the state has their own booth, and they're displaying what kind of attractions they have in their county. Come see this and come see that, and it helped. I pick that stuff up because that's the kind of trips we take sometimes, a day trip or a 2-day trip to see some of that stuff. Oh my gosh, 2 buildings of new cars. No, thank you. Hang on, I'm going to get us some more music here. It seems to have. Will you play again? There we go. Texas State Fair is an hour and a half on commuter trains each way, and you've never been. Yeah. I can't believe two buildings of new cars. Building for all the late night TV infomercial stuff as seen on TV. Holly says, I was 18 or 19 trying to start my adult life. My brother and sister-in-law took me to the fair. And Jane says, and then there's the huge livestock area. Of course there is, because ranchers and everything. And I would imagine we have the 4-H, connected with the fair. I would imagine that's pretty standard across most fairs. Yeah, the food area and the rides. Yes, indeed. The Midway. I don't do the Midway. I walk through it once. Thank you. What's your favorite fair food? I'm trying to think. We always get lemon shake-ups. That's really good when it's hot. I always want to get the powdered sugar elephant ears, and I never do. We have food tents, so they'll have pork sandwiches, hot dogs, that kind of stuff. Corn dog. That's my favorite. Corn dog. Elephant ears. You've never heard of those? Well, basically, they're a sweet fried bread that they put powdered sugar on, but they're big, so they call them elephant ears. They're not really that big. They're about a plate size. A standard dinner plate size is what they are. In other words, you're eating dough and sugar. Yeah. Usually something fried. They fry anything. I have never tried a fried Twinkie. I have never tried, all of these things that every year it seems like they have something new that they fry. Kind of like a funnel cake, yes. Very much so. Yeah. Fried Twinkies are pretty good, are they? Never tried it. I don't know when in my adult life I put all my restrictions, but of course part of it is the weight control. Smoked turkey legs and the Belgian waffles, which is just a waffle with fruit and powdered sugar. Yeah. The turkey legs actually I associate with the Renaissance Fair, which I think we're going to next Saturday. But I associate that more. They have them at the state fair, but it's more the Ren Fair. It's about the only thing you can get. Fried Oreos are kind of weird, are they? Turkey leg or funnel cake is your fave? Yeah. $16. Oh my gosh. That's the other thing. You are right. The money you can go through between rides and midways. The rides are expensive too. A couple bucks for each ride, really. They make you use fare tickets to buy anything, so you don't know exactly what you're spending. Yeah, that's right. They do that at there's a park here. It's not a water park, it's a ride park. Gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, they do that there too, so you have no idea what you're paying. This is going to fill this bobbin up. It's going to be a lot of this yarn. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay, Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay. That's what it is. Thank you. The site of our state fair and the ride amusement park Kentucky Kingdom are side by side. It used to be, if you had fair admission tickets, you could go into ride the rides at Kentucky Kingdom. They took that away quite a few years ago when they expanded it, the Kentucky Kingdom Park. So now it's extra. We took our grandson to the state fair. He was not interested in anything at all. So we went ahead and paid to have him to go into the amusement park for the rides, and he rode a number of things there, but he just wasn't as interested in it as I thought he would be. Well, I am going to stop and take a look if there's somebody we can raid. I thought I'd get this done, but turns out there's quite a bit there. I got on early I got on Twitch early this morning, and there were like of all the people I have followed, and there's over 300. There were like 3 people streaming. KB's on. Let's see here. Dragon Rider, Yarn Crafter's Corner. She's playing forever on the spindle. Sonnet Silence. Crochet. Hi, Newman. He's down there rubbing on my knees. Rush Commission. Yeah, it's no, I can tell you real quick what its reps per inch is here. Sorry, I'm hitting the camera. You guys seen my nifty reps per inch tool? Well, definitely 18 or 16, 14, you know. Okay, that's why I don't like this reps per inch. Let's find my other one. Maybe. I'm not sure where I put it. I don't really see it. So, yeah. Oh well. Sorry. It's probably around 14 reps per inch. Second bobbin down. Good going. Gonna raid KB. So I'll be back tomorrow morning. What? 10 a.m. till noon. And I will be deciding and spinning a new fiber. So that'll be fun. So let's go to KB Fibers and say hello to her. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate the company today. There's a raid call if you want it. And while I sit there, while I finish this little bit of plying up, we'll sit there and talk to KB. So, copy this. Guitar nut, good going. See you later, you all. Appreciate it. And let's turn her on so I can hear this. All right. Bye.